Welcome to my channel, so friends. If you're passionate about dressmaking for kids and want to elevate your skill to the next level, you're in the right place. My name is Ajulam, and today we will learn how to draft and sew two current designs, the drop shoulder and the coat sleeve. So if you're interested in this, let's get started. I'm going to start with the drop shoulder part before the coat sleeve part. So for the drop shoulder, this is what I'm going to do. Of course, you can see that I have a basic bodice pattern drawn out already, so I'm going to alter this to a drop shoulder pattern. So I'll come over to this the shoulder area. I'll just extend this line by 1.5. You can also use 1 or even more, depending on how big you want the extension to be. So I'm using 1.5. So just mark that. You can see that I'm following the slant as it is. Just mark your 1.5 and then connect. So I'll just connect to that point, and then I'm going to do the same on this other side. I'm marking my 1.5 and then I will connect. Following the slant, just connect. Okay, so after connecting, I'm going to make my the midpoint of the armhole area. I'm going to make it visible because I'll be using that as a guide to connect this part. So I'll just make it visible to guide me when I want to connect the new armhole. Right, so this is what I have. Before I connect this, I'm going to measure what I have here and keep it aside. So this is going to guide me to know if my armhole is accurate, that is, the new armhole is accurate after drafting. So I'm just trying to measure this. Just, I have 6.5 for the armhole. So I'm going to come over to this side. This is the side, and then come down by 0.75. This is how I'll be connecting the new armhole. So this is 0.75. Okay, so I'm going to connect now. Now you can see the way I am placing my ruler like this. Okay, and then you can see the new armhole that I have now. Just place it in a way that it will connect from that point to the new point that you marked out as the armhole. So I'll just connect. Now this is now the new armhole. This part is off. Okay, then after connecting, you can also go ahead and measure what you have to be sure that it's up to what you measured for the first armhole. You can see that I have 6.5, which is perfect. Is now okay. So I'm going to connect this other side using the same method. I'll connect. And now this is my new armhole. This part is off. Okay, now you can see that I've created my drop shoulder. This way you can see that I extended it by 1.5. Like I said earlier, you can make it more than 1.5. Now we're going to create the opening where I'll be adding the ruffles, and on that opening, that is where the cold shoulder effect will come in. So all I need to do, if you want, you can just connect from this edge. You can just curve it and connect it to meet up to this armhole line, or you can also go up by either half or 1 inch. Okay, so I think I'll go with half. So I'll just take my ruler and then connect from this point. You can now give it a little curve. You can see the way I'm trying to give mine a little curve from that point. Okay, and connect. Alright, so this is where I'll be adding my ruffles, and then the coat sleeve effect will come in on these parts. Alright, so I'm going to connect the second side like that, and we're almost through with this side. So I'm just trying to adjust this, and then I'll connect. Now this is what I have. You just make sure to avoid any sharp curve. Just straighten it up. Now this is what I have. You can see that some area is off. So this is going to be the upper side, which will be like the yoke, while this area is where I'll be adding the ruffles, and then the cold shoulder effect, sorry, the cold sleeve effect will come in on this part, because after sewing from this point to this point will be open. Same goes with this other side. Now the front side is ready. I'm going to repeat the same process on this back side, after which I'm going to show you how to achieve that long sleeve with ruffles. So this is what I'm going to do. On this center back now, I'll place my ruler, my tape on this shoulder line to check what I have from that point to where I marked this curve. This is 4.75, so I'm going to place mine like that and also mark out the 4.75. okay, so I'll come to this side and then extend by 1.5. remember, that is what I'm using. Now when you're making this pattern, the front shoulder slope should be the same as the back, because normally I use 0.5 for back shoulder slope while 0.75 for front. But if you're making a drop shoulder dress, the front and the back drop shoulder should be the same. All right, so I'll just connect. You can see that I'm repeating the process again, and you can see that it is very easy. Okay, then I'll come down by 0.75 and then connect, and the pattern is ready. Okay, just connect, following the process. So all you need to do is to work with your own measurement or follow the process. Okay, and I would also like to remind us that our online classes have started. We have different classes for different level in sewing, so you can send me a WhatsApp message on the number that I'll be dropping in the description box for more details on the classes. So I'll go ahead now and connect. From that point I'll just connect, and the back side is ready. You can see what I have now. So I'll quickly cut this out and then cut on my fabric, and then I'm going to show us how to go about the sleeve part. Alright, here you can see that I just finished cutting them all out on my fabric. So this is how you're going to create the cold sleeve effect. So now this is my 3/4 sleeve, and I believe you already know how to draft a basic sleeve pattern. But if you don't know how to do that, I'm going to drop the video link in the description box for you to check it out. Now to create the cold sleeve effect, all I'm going to do is to measure what I have on these parts. Remember I said that the cold effect will come in from here. So the first thing to do here is to minus your sewing allowance. Okay, I am using 1/2 inch sewing allowance and also 1/2 inch on this other side. So you need to minus that before measuring what you have left. Okay, So I'm going to place my tape now to see what I have left. Just take it gently. You can see that I have 3.5. So I'll come over to this side and mark the 3.5. You can see the way I followed the curve, then mark the 3.5. Now this pattern does not have I didn't add any side sewing allowance because we are going to be using the slash and spread method to achieve the fluffiness on this part. So I'll mark the same on this other side because it's the same thing. So I'll just go ahead and mark my 3.5, and then I'm going to connect it straight, and the coat sleeve is ready. You can see that this is very easy and simple. So just connect. So this part will go off. So I'll just cut this part off. Now this is what I'll be working with. Alright, so this is what I have left. So all you need to do now is to use the slash and spread effect to achieve the fluffiness on this part. This is very simple. Okay, so I'll go ahead and cut this out, then spread it out and spread it out and gather the ruffles. Then I'm going to show you how to attach the elastic that is going to be on this end. So I'll just take it one at a time. So let me just cut this out first, then I'm going to show us the stitching part. So this is the first thing to do. As you can see, I just attached the sleeve first on the dress. Now for this sleeve, I have another one that is going to serve as the lining, and this one's the lining for the bodice. Okay, so after sewing it straight to the armhole, remember the way I cut out the sleeve, I use the curved part now for the armhole. Then I'm going to measure what I have all around to decide what to use to create the ruffles that is going to be there. So I'll just take my tape and measure it all around. Whatever you have, you're going to multiply by at least 5. That is if you don't want to have too much ruffles on this side. So you multiply by at least 5. Whatever you have, that is what you're going to be cutting out on your net, and then gather it to join on this part. So that is what I'm going to do, after which I'm going to show us how to stitch the drop shoulder part. This is the coat sleeve, so we're taking it one at a time. So I have 35. I'm going to multiply that and then cut it out straight on my net. After joining it here, I'll now stitch this part, and I'll also show you how to join it together with this part with the lining, so you can achieve a very clean inseam finishing. So I'll just cut this out and then gather it and join it on this part. Here we are after joining the ruffles on this part. Now I use the width of this ruffle is 3 yards while the height is 3.5 before gathering it and then joining. So that is what I use for the ruffle. So I'm going to take the front one now as it is, and then I'm going to place it making sure that it matches the center. This is for the front side, and then you're going to check where the sleeve, you know, that point that I said the cold sleeve will come in. You're going to check that point and notch it. So this is the point here I'm going to notch, because that part is going to be open. So just notch it and repeat the same for the rest of this. Then after which I will now join the shoulders together. Okay, so this is the point here, or I can just place this over and maintain the same thing, because for the front side it's the same. Right, so you're going to take the back one and do the same. Just notch the point, because we're going to sew and end it on that part. This, after sewing, this area will be open while the sleeve will be on its own. That's why it's called a cold shoulder. So this is for the back, this is the shoulder. I'm going to trace where it ends also and notch. Okay, so this is the point here, so I'll just notch that point. This is for the back side. Alright, so I'm going to do this now and then join the shoulders together. That is the first thing I'll do, to join the shoulder and the neckline together. Okay. Alright, this is it after closing the neck, the shoulder and the neckline. This is what I have. Now remember the part that I said you should notch, we are going to sew just there. So from this point you just sew to this point and repeat the same on the other side and turn it. So I'll just turn it to the wrong side and stitch it there. Okay, so this is the wrong side. So I'm going to stitch from this point to this point where I notched. You know, this part is the cold shoulder effect area. So I'll be closing it up and do the same on this other side. After closing it up, I will turn it and give it a good press before we now add this other side and then finish up the sleeve with an elastic. So I'll just take this one at a time. Let me just close this first and then I'll come back to show us how to add this. Alright, this is the part after closing it. So all I need to do now is to take, you know, this is the one that is going to be on the right side while this is the wrong side. So this part that is the right side is where I'll be taking, that is the first one. I'll just take it like this and then stitch it. When I get to that end, you know, where this stitch ends, I will just stop there. You know, just on this point I'll just stop there and then continue like that. Okay, so to make this easier for me, I'll just use my pin. You know, just take only the front side and continue, just stitch. When you get to that end, you top stitch there and then continue like that with the next one until you finish up all that you have. So I'll just pin this so that it will be easy for me. So I'll also advise that you pin it before you start sewing. So start from this center front and pin. This is the center front now. So I am taking this one up. This is the right one. I'll just turn this like this. Now this is the right one, so I'm taking just one and then I'm going to pin. Make sure that it's on the center. So I'm going to pin separately. So after sewing, like I just explained now, this upper side will only fold it on top and then stitch it gently all round. So I'll just pin this just to make it easy and simple for me when stitching, and then stitch it the way I just explained now, after which I will now add my elastic to the sleeve and we are done with this. this is what it looks like after joining. This is the right side and this is the wrong side. Now you can see that this part is still open, so I'll leave it open, then attach the lining part before closing up this side. Now this is my lining. Remember, it should have the same shape with what you have here. So this is my lining with the sleeve. Okay, remember the way I joined it first. So this is the part that is going to be for the lining. So I'm going to take this as it is now, and then I'll also open up this, don't join it yet, and then close up the lining part. I'll just follow it as it is and then join the lining. Just follow the stitching. When you get to this point, you shift this other side so you can see the space to continue the sewing. So you're just going to sew like that until you get to the end. When you finish sewing, now turn it over this way so you can have a very clean easy finishing. Then when you turn it over, this is what it should look like. Let me just fold this to illustrate. When you turn it over, this is how it's going to look. So what I normally do is to take this now and fold it like this. Okay, fold it. Either you use your hand needle and tag it neatly or to the end where it ends, or you can use your sewing machine and stitch it. But when you're stitching, make sure that the stitching line will be inside this so that it will not be visible. But I would advise you use your hand needle so you can take your time and give this a very clean work. Okay, so let me just join the lining first and then give it a good press so we can finish up. This is it. As you can see, I just finished joining the lining. You can see how I placed it, and then you turn it over after sewing. So what I have left now is to close up this part and the sleeve. So like I said earlier, this part, all you need to do now is to fold it this way. Okay, then use your hand needle to stitch it so that it will be on this stitching line. Some people use gum, but I don't advise using that because after 1 or 2 washes it is going to loosen. So I normally use my needle and thread and tag this neatly in, and then repeat the same on this back side, and that is it. So for the sleeve now, this is the sleeve. So the first thing to do is to cut out your elastic and then use the sleeve around the sleeve measurement to cut out your elastic. So this is mine here. It is my round. The sleeve measurement is 8 inches, so this is 8 inches, and you can see that this is not, the stretchiness is not that strong, it's very free. So I'm using this one so that it will not leave any mark on the child's skin. So decide where to place your elastic. You can use 1 inch, and I'm going to use 1 inch, so you can use 1 inch on this hem area of your sleeve. You can make it 2, you can make it 1.5. Okay, I'm going to make mine 1.5. So the elastic is going to be on this line. So I'll just mark this 1.5 all the way round, and then just place this on it, and as you stitch, you're going to stretch until to cover up what you just marked. So I'll just quickly do this and close the side and show us the final look. This is the final look of this dress. So for the elastic part of the sleeve, I already have a detailed video on how to do that, so you can check that out. All I need to do now is to add my zipper and then give this a very good press so that everything will just flatten up. So that is it for today. Please subscribe if you have not, and I will see you all in my next one.